is July 20th. When am I gonna record? I've been asking more what I should share. Should I share information that I get? Some of the information I'm not allowed to share, so I'm like, okay. What I reflected on today was, as I meditated, was again, it's really a lot of it is what my day is gonna look like, just to make sure that I'm on track, and you know, staying focused on what I need to do, what I need to accomplish. So I have my thing set up for today. I was still tripped out about the car situation because I was told not to move the car, and I got slightly worried, but not really. So I went to the grocery store. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Or the day before yesterday. What's today? No, it had to be yesterday because the car gets moved on Tuesday and today's Wednesday. Yesterday, I went to the grocery store. Oh yeah, I did. What did I buy? It didn't matter. I went to the grocery store. On the way back, the car behind me got their windows broken in. So I was like, I remember that feeling, but I didn't have the same emotional response like I did when my car got broken into. When my car was broken into, it was the same thing where it was the car next to it had gotten broken into before. And it was like the week before. And I remember walking to my car and there was this feeling of anxiety of like, I'm next. Like, I don't know how I know I'm next. And sure enough, I was. In this particular situation, when I walked, I didn't have that same feeling. So I was like, okay. And then I remembered the movement of like the vibration telling me to stay put. So tomorrow I have to move my car, which reminds me to put it on the post-it so I don't forget. I need to move my car at 8:30. I asked. Move car, 8:30 a.m. I asked how I was going to navigate that because I don't have all of the morning open, and I have to move my car at 9. So anyways, I just asked about details and I got guidance to be in my car by 8:30. I'll find parking nearby and I'll be able to park near the same spot. But so yesterday I was preparing the videos. Not preparing, but just putting the pieces together. Putting the intro, outro, I guess is what it's called. And you know, doing it in the program that I use to have it ready to upload. But I still haven't watched all the videos. I tried watching. Let's just leave it at that. I tried watching. It's still I'm trying to figure out where the emotion is coming from. If it's really more, I think it's just I see myself in distress, and it's more of this like, whoa, that's where I was feeling, and so I still get emotional watching myself be extremely emotional about this person from my past, this artist. And so that's all I was able to do. Just put them together. Today I have to at least get through the first. I have to post. So when I prepare to post, I have to watch all of it to do the little write-up. I have to watch all of it to do the little write-up. So I'm not worried about that. Not worried. I just know it's gonna. I'm gonna get emotional about it. That's all I know. Hopefully it'll be less. And I think it's just seeing myself and where I was then and how I looked at the situations then, right? Still knowing that I don't know this person. So that was in my mind still, this element of like, I don't know this person. And I know he's not the only one who will catch up to me. I know that. I asked again today and I got it confirmed. I was like, okay. So for sure, there'll be more than one person. And, but I even started thinking about how I'm even, so the videos where I talk about him, it's oftentimes because it's connected to a dream that I had of him. But I realized that I had started hashtagging Twinflame. And I was trying to remember this morning as I was getting ready. I was like, how did I make that decision to hashtag him or the video where I talk about him in that way? And I'm trying to rack my brain. I'm like, how did I get to that conclusion to do that when I wasn't even sure? When I wasn't even sure, really, because I don't have a lot of information on twin flames aside from what I've already shared. Because again, I didn't put a lot of emphasis on it, this term, this label, this, because it kind of didn't make sense. But then the little bit that I did learn, I was like, it does kind of, but still not being sure, right? And because I don't have the confirmation of him, right, agreeing or disagreeing or maybe not even having the same experience, I don't know. So I thought about that today as I was getting ready, about how I prepare the videos and how I hashtag twin flame, but I really don't know. And trying to recap, when did I do that? Did I get confirmation somewhere? Was it just this intuitive knowing? And then even being confused because I did a comparative birth chart with him. He did a numerology compatibility with me when we first met. He's the one that introduced me to I had never heard of numerology, and he was the one that introduced me to that. He preferred it. He said, I remember he said he preferred it. I forgot why. But it's funny because I remember, I think I did the same. And I remember some of what it described. It described, because my numerology or number is a 1, which is significant of a leader. And I remember, what did I read on his? Something about like, as long as he strokes my ego. As long as he strokes my ego, like we'll be good or something like that. So anyways, how did I go with that? Numerology. Oh, the birth chart compare. That's why, because I remember I did it's not a website I use anymore. Something astrologist net or something like that. But anyways, it has the ability where you or an app or something where you can put both people's birth charts and then it overlaps. And I remember ours, it said we weren't a good like match, like there was going to be continued challenges is what I remember, or just there was something about like it there was just too much. It was just too much. It was just going to be challenging, was what I remembered. So then in my head I thought, well, then how does that make sense for, but again, I didn't know much about twin flames, right? Didn't know much. I remembered MJ recently. Oh, there she is. The spider. I saved a spider from the tub yesterday because I was going to shower. And I nudged her to try to get her out. And she did. I just didn't know where she went. now I know where she is. So anyways, what was I? Birth chart. Oh, MJ was doing a study. She was asking people to turn in their birth charts if they knew who their twin flame was. I didn't entertain the idea, but she mentioned recently about plutonic relationships, and she said that those tend to be about control, power and control, more so about power and control or something like that. And I remember when she said it, me llamó la atención. Like I was like, oh, that's interesting. Plutonian, not plutonic, Plutonian, because it had to do with your Pluto, she said. It's different than a plutonic, because that's what, like, where there's no, like, it's like friends, right? I don't even know. But I remember she said it was different, Plutonian relationships, because the Plutonian, it has to do with your Pluto, the placement of your Pluto, and it has to do about power and control. And so I'm reflecting on, you know, the lessons that I've had to overcome. A lot of it has been around power and control, this element of how rigid I used to be and how controlling I was out of, in because I wanted things a certain way, right? And it was during the time in my life where there was so much chaos, and so whatever I was able to control was what I focused on. And it was this element of, I need to fix it, I need to fix it, I need to fix it. But not just that, but even like in my marriage, I was controlling. There was an element of like, babe, we gotta do this, we gotta go over here. And he was just like, I remember he would like, okay, let's go, well, you said this, right? Like, and then, so there was an element of control in that relationship. Yeah. And then reflecting on the dreams, right? I was even thinking about that too. I'm like, well, a lot of the dreams where he's in it and the experiences that I'm having with him, there's also an element of control. Like I remember one of the first ones where there was this feeling of like, I just wanted him to love me, but it didn't matter what I did. It wasn't the way he wanted it. It wasn't the way he wanted it. And there was an element of control. I remember I just remember there was the feeling of control. So, and and then he even said it when he got triggered. I was thinking about that too yesterday when I was reflecting on my Chente story, the video where I'm talking about the Chente situation, and learning about that new story that I completely forgot, where he got triggered by my sister wanting to, control or kind of dictate, right, what we could and could not do. And he said, I don't like being controlled. So again, just a theme of power and control in or at least what I remember from, if I'm, picking up the patterns. So when MJ said that, I remember it wasn't the first time she said it, just the term and the brief description of it. And I remember vaguely even entertaining the idea. I'm like, maybe we're not twin flames. Maybe it is more of this Plutonian. That's Plutonian, right, versus Plutonic relationship. So anyways, I was thinking about that while I was meditating. So, because I am getting more direct answers now, yes and no, and I'm picking it up a little bit more, I decided to ask. I asked if he was in fact my twin flame, and the answer was yes. I asked a couple times too, just to make sure, because I always do that. I always ask and then I go off topic, ask something other, and then I come back to the same question, just to kind of get like, okay, yes, then, I did read it right. And then I asked, but what about this whole Pluto, which again, I don't know. And for both, I only have a like a whiff of information. Actually, aside from what I've shared about Plutonian and power and Pluto, that's all I know. And the little bit I know about twin flames. So I asked twin flame, yes, and so then I asked about the Plutonian too, and I'm like, well, but is he a Plutonian person in my life too? The answer was yes. So then I'm like, can it be both? That's the first question, and the answer was yes, I guess. So then I thought, I want to take MJ's class because MJ has a class where she talks about both a Plutonian versus a twin flame. But then I'm thinking, I'm like, is it one or the other? Or can it be both? And my thingy says it's both. My thingy my vibration says it's both. So I'm like, okay. So then I started thinking about the birth chart. So I'm gonna take the class today. I'm signing up. I asked if I could sign up for it today, and the answer was yes. Okay. So I'm gonna sign up to learn more. And so then I asked too. I was just like, is this something I need to look into a little more? Do I need to do more research on twin flames? And the answer was yes. I was just like, okay. So I guess that's what I'm gonna apparently talk about a little bit more now. So I'm gonna do a little more digging of information to familiarize myself a little bit more with it. Maybe some refreshers from when I first started this journey. But again, no le puse mucha atención. I didn't pay much attention to it because there was so much going on. So I'm gonna, I guess, look into that and record on that. So I'm gonna sign up for MJ's class today on Plutonian versus twin flames. There was something else. Oh, the birth chart. So as I'm doing more birth charts, and again, I'm not saying that I do the whole thing. I focus really on the Chiron and the North Node, South Node, and noticing that it shifts. So even though someone's North Node is in the North Node, is a certain place, that's not necessarily where they need to work towards, because they might already have started there depending on their circumstances. I learned, I had like a person show that to me, and I remember thinking, oh, that's so interesting, because usually a North Node is the energy you're supposed to embrace, but in her case, she had already from a little girl been in her North Node, and if anything, it was embracing the South Node that made her feel balanced. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, well, that makes sense. It's all about balance. And so then the more you're aware of the placements and the impact and where you're off balance, using that information and assessing your life, right, to see where you're off balance, then you're going to balance out your chart, which means then you're going to balance out yourself. Because that's what I was thinking about, just how his chart and mine, if I remember correctly, and I don't, because this was like, gosh, over a year ago, I just remember that it was going to be challenging, was what it was highlighting, that we were going to be triggering each other a lot, and so it was just going to be challenging. And so it didn't, and it was with the other fire sign too, the old fire sign, that him and I were like it was an easier fit. I remember being surprised by that. So then I thought, okay, well, if he is one of the ones, right, then does that mean that potential energy, right? Assuming that he does this whole healing thing, then that means he's going to balance himself out, which means then his chart is going to, the challenges on the chart are not going to matter. They're not going to be as heavy, as significant, no va a doler tanto. it won't be so impactful. It won't be so painful, maybe. It won't have that same degree of impact because you're aware of it, and so you're working on balancing it out within yourself, right? And so then you become, that's what the question was that I asked, you become, or at least what I was in my thought process, you become more compatible with other people. You become more compatible with other people because you're aware and you're constantly, balancing yourself out. And so your vibration will then match people that you think you wouldn't normally match with, I think, is my little hypothesis. my hypothesis. Because that's all I've been working on, is balancing that out. So if I balance it out, then what gets highlighted in my chart isn't going to affect me. And yeah, it's not going to impact me to the same degree as other people who aren't aware of what's on their chart or what they need balancing, I don't know. That's just me thinking out loud. So that's all. I just wanted to record on that awareness. And that's what I'll be doing, is looking more into this whole twin flame stuff, Plutonian stuff, taking Andre's class. And I guess I'll be talking about it a little bit more, just to educate myself, really. Just to educate myself on it. And because, they said yes. Yeah, that was it. All right. So I don't know if I shared, I did end up talking to the divorce attorney yesterday, which coincided with the video that I didn't know that it was going to, I think I shared that before already, that they scheduled me for the attorney on the day that video posted, where I have that dream where it's about me and my ex and there's an attorney involved. And so it's gonna be a flat rate of $4,000. So I'm grateful for the money that I got back for my school loans that I paid into when I didn't have to, because that's what's gonna fund my divorce. So we'll see how that goes. Hi, my name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us, in whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth. This just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at, inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience, and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, you know, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and